right, everyone. Now I'm gonna quickly take you through Ethereum and Bitcoin on what it looks, where the space that they're gonna move in this week or work in this week. And I'm gonna start with the general trend, and I'm gonna start with the DXY because we know that's inversely correlated. It's been working so far, but not how can I say, last week we've seen some anomalies in terms of that correlation. Still, it's good to keep in mind what it's doing on the daily as a general bigger time frame trend. On the daily, on the DXY, we have the stochastic crossing down, and generally a stochastic crossing down on the DXY means price will move a little bit further, and we're further down, and that would mean a lift for crypto. However, that's contradicted by what's happening on the 4 hour. I'm going to switch off Traders Reality. There we go. Because the 4 hour has bottomed out in the stochastic. It hasn't yet bottomed out in the regular RSI, and we don't have a divergence at the moment yet. Also, we haven't reached this line here, which I believe we will reach sometime this week. Now, usually when I see a difference between the daily and the 4 hourly DXY indications, the daily pointing down and the 4 hour showing a bottoming out, I imagine there's gonna I think it's gonna be a bit more sideways with a downwards tendency for the DXY, which would be sideways with an upwards tendency for crypto, for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, I'm not going to look at the 1 hour because the 1 hour tends to be a little bit chaotic. There's no big news happening today. We have a couple of the FOMC members speaking later in the day, but nothing that is red flagged in the calendar. So nothing that would bring major volatility as what we had last week. I think we have the midterms elections, but I'll get a little bit more informed about that and tell you about it during the week. Now, with the DXY pointing downwards, downwards on the daily, but bottoming out on the 4 hourly, so a slightly downward sideways scenario, we would be looking at Ethereum and Bitcoin moving slightly upwards, but again sideways in terms of levels. This DXY reading is in line with where I see Bitcoin going as well. So we've had an eventful week so far. Well, weeks so far. We've had 2 eventful weeks so far. Because what we've done was we crossed this invalidation line down, we closed below it, everything looked like this was not gonna be broken, this daily divergence line was not gonna be broken, but yes, we did break it, and here we are above it. But we're not really going anywhere. So I was saying yesterday in the Discord, I'm not really enjoying this pace of whatever is happening right now. However, this might be the lift off accumulation pace out of this descending channel. Now, I keep looking at this, and on the daily, again, I have one red flag on the daily. I always give you what are my reasons for being bullish. I'll say bullish as in continuing the trend upwards, or bearish, reversing to the downside. So being bullish, I have a couple of reasons. I've the crossing of the 20 and the 55, I've the breaking of the divergence line, I've the holding of this validation line, I have the MACD that hasn't yet crossed upwards. So big 4 reasons to continue upwards. On the invalidation side, on turning down, what I have is the stochastic on the daily. That's not an easy thing to overlook. And again, because we have that how can I say, difference between the positive reasons and the negative, the momentum on the stochastic is pushing down, we might see some sideways. I'm looking at the weekly, and the weekly is still going up in stochastic momentum. So we haven't yet turned down on the weekly, but we have reached the overbought area. We haven't peaked like we have previously, so there's still space to go upwards. We have to see what's going to happen. I take it day by day, and I check to see the 1 hour trend and the 1 hour trade that I have, and read the swing that is happening then and there, rather than go too much into long-term trades, because they could, for instance, I did a short, I took my profit, I'm gonna wait for reversal now and follow it up. If I see that lift is breaking the previous high, I'm gonna stay in and follow it up. But if it doesn't break it, and I will be looking at 1 hour candles for that, if it doesn't break it, I'm gonna secure profits. And if they spike me out, happy days, that's okay. I'll wait for it to top out and then do the reversal, and so on and so forth. So I'm looking to swing those 1 hours because they are there. It's very hard to read where we're going on the day, considering we have very strong reasons to believe that this momentum is gonna go on. But then on the shorter time frames, we have reasons to believe that this is gonna reverse and we're gonna drop hard. And by the shorter time frame, just the 4 hour MA landscape is absolutely frightening, with the 20 going up, but the 5 and the 10 crossing down. The 50 for the moment is holding. Can I see it reaching the 200? Absolutely. That's why I wouldn't be longing here without a stop loss, and then putting a short limit order if this line breaks. So basically, if this line breaks, if the divergence line breaks, I'm gonna tighten it up here and follow it down to the 19,900 area, which would be, in the most conservative fashion, 2.9%. Very small ranges for Bitcoin. There's no massive trade to be made at the moment, step by step, as we're going down or moving up. The upwards move would be a little bit more profitable, because if we're looking at all of this as an accumulation, as an ascending triangle, because it is an ascending triangle, then we would have a nice lift up. But we don't yet have that breakout. For that breakout to happen, because we are back in the triangle, I don't want to do the trade setup here. For that breakout to happen, we need to break the previous high at 21.5, let's say, and that breakout will take us all the way up to 22.7, 22.8 if we're taking this triangle, this pattern into account. So the short option at the moment is quite short. It's quite stingy in terms of profits. The longs, that's why I have had my eyes on longs last night. I thought this was going to break up, and by breaking up is going to break the previous high and continue moving upwards, but it wasn't. It wasn't the case. It came down and it corrected, which is a good thing to do. So if we're taking, for instance, if we're taking this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this wave up corrected. Oh, it's really hard to read. If I am gonna put a fib on this, then I assume it was here. This corrected only to the 236 area, but if I am to take this swing here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this corrected down to the golden pocket. So it might be an acute impulse upwards, and if this corrected to the golden pocket, and this one again, it's very hard. That's why I don't get into Elliott waves, because it's very hard to read, especially when they're chaotic like this. this would be here, this would be a 0.5 correction, and then this would be a third one part of this, and this would be again a 0.5 correction. So yes, this swing has only corrected down to 382, but this has done a 0.5, this has done a 0.5, this has done the golden pocket. So if we are to look at them on a smaller time frame, they have all done nice decent corrections, which is really healthy in an accumulation stage. Okay, so now let's do a couple of trade setups for where we're going with Bitcoin this week, because it is Monday and we're waiting for New York to open. So this is my 1 hour wedge that I'm going to use for setting up the trades. As you can see, the 1 hour, I found a really nice indicator. I don't know if I have it here. I'm going to show it to you briefly. I love using the RSIs, you know I do. It's one of the few things that I use in terms of indicators other than the volume. I found this lovely indicator. It's called RSI Divergence by Liberatus, RSI Dive Lib, and it shows the reason why I love it, especially. This is my indicator page. This is where I'm trying to get my yeses for entries and exits. Here is it's signaling the pivots. So you get, of course, what happened yesterday was very heavily market maker manipulated, but it was also very mappable. Like it was plain to see that we had a channel. It was a descending channel. It's likely to break up. It didn't break up. It went in the unlikely 30% chance it went down, but it was a nice straight down. There were no fake outs. It didn't break the top line, which is generally what happens. Sometimes there are nasty fake outs that catch people longing. It just came straight down. It wasn't a big trade. It was 20% down to the trend line here. But now here's where you get the pivots and the RSI. So bullish divergence. You get the pivot again. Here for there, I assume the bullish direction. So for reversal, it's another layer of confirmation of what's happening in addition to traders' reality, especially for where we are. I like to have as many yeses as possible. So that's the indicator that I want to show you, and I have just started using it. I haven't noticed any particular flaws or weaknesses to it, but if I do and I decide to stop using it, I'll let you guys know. So let's do our trades for this week. Let's prepare for New York. So where are we right now? Right now we are in the middle of the middle right here. We are holding this line. So it is a very risky move to take a long position here in this V formation. The only time I would take a long position here in this V formation is when if I were to see something along these lines. So if I were to see price action going up with conviction, getting above the VWAP, getting above the 20 EMA, I would be taking a long position. And yes, I would be holding it with a tight stop loss a little bit below this, and it would generally hold because price action has proven its momentum to go up. But I would still be using stop losses, because if we are to drop out of this ascending wedge down, this would be a big trade down, and I'm gonna mark it. So it is risky business, but you know what they say, scared money don't make money. So we have to measure our risks. So how the way I would do it here is I would only to make sure I cover a little bit more space here, the way there is space here, I would be putting in half of my position and then DCAing in on the way up. Now the way up would be 2 1-hour candles closing above the 20, and then I might be looking to DCA some more when I see 2 1-hour candles closing above the 55, because that is a very nice situation, especially after doing the correction of this wave, especially after resetting the 1-hour RSI and also very, very importantly, resetting resetting the 4-hour RSI. The 4-hour is holding support on the 55, by the way, and that's generally a good thing in terms of the possibility of another swing up. Now, going back to this, so one possible trade would be after we gain confirmation, and I will leave this line here because this would be my probably my confirmation line. There we go. I am waiting. I haven't started a long position yet. I'm waiting for New York to open. So once I close my trade on one day, I wait for New York to open the next day, because especially the first hour of the New York session is where a lot of the volume from the European session and the American session join, and that's when big moves can happen. So this would be a good entry if this is going to continue in a V. If not, I will be putting this at the 702, somewhere around here. I assume there will be a 702, so I'll leave it here. On second thought, I'll leave it here. So this would be one possible trade up to where now our first level will be a double top here. Why am I just saying a double top? Because we have that to get through first. I don't want to put the top line as a target because I was caught there. I was caught there twice. Once in XRP last week, and second in Bitcoin this week, because I thought initially this was our wedge, and I thought it was going to get here. So rather than taking profit here, I was waiting for this to be hit. And then all the weekend, I thought we're going to get another lift to the top line, and we didn't. So as the swing has proven itself, here's where we are. And first level to take profit would be a second top situation. You don't have to take all the profit, leave a little bit in, but it's 40%. So you can take 70% and leave 30%. And if you want a DCA when it breaks this and confirms this, you can do so. Oh, now, when you DCA again, remember it cannot go up here if it reverses down here. So I would secure profits at all times. So if you decide to DCA because you think it's going to break upwards, bring your stop loss somewhere around here, because it cannot break. If it breaks the double top and if it breaks the wedge, secure the rest of your profits, because if it goes back into this wedge, back testing it is okay, but if it goes back to this level, it's probably going to reverse all the way down. So secure all the profit if you're following it up and DCAing. Don't let it come back and reverse on you. That's the first and most obvious trade that I would make. The second trade that I would make this week would be a breakout trade, and that breakout can happen either way. I know that wedges have a 70 to 30%. My mind's busy now, making a reminder of something that I have to tell you. So wedges can break upwards if they're ascending 30%. So there's less chance of breaking upwards than there is of breaking downwards. However, we have been accumulating for a long time, and I do see that the upward scenario is quite likely for a double top situation. I have to stop saying situation, I just love the word. For a double top situation at around here, 23,000, it would be super. It would meet this previous level to a T. This would be a beautiful W formation. We would have level 1, level 2, and possibly a small level 3 here. But we've yet to, do you know what? I'm going to move this for a level 2 here. And in this way you can see the white lines showing. I'm going to change the color. Usually I have the there, and this would be level 1. No, this would be level 1. Level 1 should, the level 2 should be the biggest one, but I'm not so sure, considering how well it is. Yeah, this accumulation is definitely the bigger level compared to the second one. But maybe this could actually be level 2 and we're going up to level 3. We have to see the levels. Levels are the hardest thing to determine. I think on the 4 hour, the stochastic on the 4 hour could indicate at times our level completion, but not after all this is zigzagging. So the 4 hours generally nicer because it would show the progression. I'm trying to find yes, for example, here from, where is it, from this top here coming down this one here. Come on, there we go. So this, like, sort of like this situation. So here we had a topping out and then a bottoming out, and then we had another topping out and then another bottoming out and then another topping out and then another bottoming out. So we had 3 waves. But anyways, some situations are easier to see than others. I don't want to be reading too many tea leaves. You know, trading should follow simple, clear rules, yeses or nos, because there are only 2 directions, up or down. So where are we? Back on the 1 hour. So 3 trades to do this week, in my opinion. I'll keep you posted on these. They would be really juicy ones. This upwards would be 7%, this downwards, and I assume maybe if we catch momentum we might go past that, but we have to see how momentum goes, and I would still be taking most of my profit at the 2023 mark, not less than 23, because I think we're gonna go past that. So one trade within the channel, and the other 2 would be breakouts. The downward scenario would be quite juicy as well, especially if we catch a double top here. Now remember, to long or short, the way I said it to you with a stop loss here, I would be shorting with a stop loss above the channel, because if it breaks out, I don't want to be in a Hulk pump caught, you know, 40-50% in an hour. Make sure you put your stop loss in, and if you're stop lossed out, so be it. Have another look at it, see where that goes, and if you have indications that it is topping out, go back in again with a stop loss, and try again to catch that swing. I generally give it 3 tries. There are very few trades that require 3 tries. That would be my max. If I don't catch the swing in 3 tries, there's something going on with me or with the swing. There's something that I'm not seeing. But I don't, considering I use about 6 to 7% stop losses, I don't want to put more than 18-20% in a trade to catch it, especially not now when the profits can be 30 or 40%. So profits now haven't been super generous. So these are the 3 trades. I'm gonna post this setup on the chat. Before I move on to Ethereum, what I want to say is that Bitcoin has closed above the, just give me a second. That was the thing that my brain was constantly reminding me while I was talking to you to tell you. Wait until you see this. It is truly a beautiful thing. It may be a beautiful thing or it may be a tragedy. So we have closed above the 20 MA on the weekly, which is not very common. Here we are. I forgot that if I do that. So here we are here above the 20 MA on the weekly. Here we have been we've been here before, and we dropped massively when that happened. We are now the situation is slightly different, because here we had the 20 crossing over the 50, which is one indicator that the trend is changing to the downside. Here we don't have it. We have the 50 coming down, but we have the 5 going up, and we have the 10 supporting in a stable flat line situation. So no threatening crosses as we had here, because as much as this was getting above the 20 was coming down over the 50. So everything that pushed up here pulled down here, so it was a big spill. Now this is fundamentally a very positive thing. If we manage to keep above the 20 if we manage to keep above the 20 on the weekly, it's great. It's great that the uptrend will continue, and we might be seeing ourselves up to the 200 at 23,800. That's why I said if we do break out from that wedge, I wouldn't be taking profits before anywhere before 23k. I would be letting it run to 23k and a little bit away from that. Okay. That's all I want to say about Bitcoin. I'm gonna do the same for Ethereum. Ethereum is in a nicer space, because it's super duper regular. Now here is Ethereum in its 1 hourly channel, ascending channel. I want to call it a wedge, but it is pretty much a channel. There's no wedge inclination to it. Let's start with the daily, though I have more red flags for Ethereum than I do for Bitcoin, even though it doesn't look it. But Ethereum has broken back underneath the daily divergence line. That's a big thing. However, we haven't closed below it. So if we don't close below it, it might be just considered a back test. We need to see how today will go. Here's the tiny space. You can hear it in my voice. I wish I had a crystal ball right now and tell you, okay, where is this going? We have the stochastic RSI on the daily heading down, and we had the crossing of the divergence downwards. So at the moment, it looks like a rejection at the divergence. If it gets rejected at the divergence, it's not necessarily super duper tragedy. However, we might be in this space for the next couple of days, so teeny tiny range. If we close below this divergence line, this would break. This would bring the daily stochastic down and reset it to the bottom, so that it could continue upwards. So it could be beneficial in the long run. But the weekly is still going up. However, Ethereum has constantly been trying to break the 20 EMA on the weekly. It's putting a lot of pressure on it, I give you that. Like, it's done a nice big weekly W formation here, which is great. Again, it's very hard for me to read the levels. To me, we've only done 2 levels. We backtested the first one. So I have to see to tell you more. I have to see how this plays out in terms of how it holds support and how it breaks resistance. It's just something that until we see, as I was telling you last night, to me it looked like Bitcoin and Ethereum were sort of like building a nice steady foundation to lift up. And I said we need to see those lines break, and when those bottom lines broke, it was all go short, because it didn't even do a fake out. So we need to see lines break. We need to see support or resistance break to confirm this. It's as simple as this. And once we have that confirmation, if we see the way, for instance, I would trade is I see the divergence line break upwards on the daily, then I would be looking for, I know that the trend is up, so I would be looking for resets of the 1 hour and the 15-minute RSI to the bottom and follow it up. And that's why, for instance, for Bitcoin, I was longing yesterday and I got stop loss out because I I expected the trend to continue upwards. I had no reasons to believe that the trend won't continue upwards. Okay, now let's do our weekly trade setup. I love this. I love that you can hear it in my voice. I love setting trades, and I love that we finally have a range and we have patterns and we have indicators and we have the two directions. It's super, and it's proper trading material. What we need to see is, let me check who's in. Okay, JD's not here. So all we need to make sure is we're not over trading, because we can get very excited. For instance, last night, this was a beautiful trade to make, very technical. It breaks it, it back tests it. You put a stop loss above the previous high here. It doesn't even come close to it. You enter somewhere around this, one of these back tests of the 20, and you follow it down. And then you take your profit. No questions asked, no discussion, because this is like, look how, I'm getting overexcited. Look how beautiful the target of the triangle meets the target of this level. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. So here again, if we're looking at the 1 hour, I'll show you where my let me check the wicks. Yeah, it is going over it. Yeah, because for instance, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but this goes, the wicks go over the body of this. It's not really, maybe it's a zigzag. Anyways, so take your profit, wait it out. Now, does this look like a reversal? Absolutely, but we don't yet have support of the 20. So we haven't yet managed to see that it's made an attempt to lift. So that's what we don't have to wait for that support. We can enter at the 702 second leg, which is what I'm waiting with XRP right now. So I believe that New York will put another foot down here. Asia's put a foot down. London's put a foot down. I think New York's going to put a foot down. We're going to have a beautiful multi-session foot down, beautiful multi-session reverse head and shoulders, and then head up. And that would be my first trade for. That would be my first trade for the week. So with that, I would enter the 702, put a tight stop loss here, and then see what it does. And I would try once, twice, because I know this is the bottom on a 4-hour stochastic, which is not an easy thing to get. And it's also the base level that it broke. So it broke, back tested it. Again, I would be mindful that if it does break this level, the next level is down here. So if I get stop lossed out, I would wait for this back test. Just give it a little bit of time. I know it's a waiting game, but that's where we are right now. We need to be patient. So my first trade would be going up to here. From here, let me put there we go. Here, there. Okay. From there, again, I am looking at a breakout trade of 1840, a level 3. So this is how I see the levels for Ethereum, and they've been holding beautifully. So we're still in level 2 consolidation, So here I would see a break upwards to 1850. Or a break downwards to the next level. And again, look how beautiful it is. It is absolutely wonderful. It is very artistic. This would be the break downwards to the historic, again, I take my profit at 1370 because this is such a big number for Ethereum. Come on, I want to move you. Okay. So again, if we get here and get rejected, we're heading down here. That would be the path downwards. If we get up here and consolidate, we move up there. And that would be the lift. I'm going to color code them. There. So that would be my ETH trade setup. Very simple. It's a very simple setup. Again, because of the difference in where the daily stochastics are and the 4-hour are, we might see some sideways and upwards. So if you get an entry and you have a stop loss, give it time, be patient. Remember, the worst thing that can happen is for you to be stop lossed out. But that goes without saying. We win more than we lose in the stop losses, and that's our paying of the market to catch the swing to our best of advantage, and also protecting our capital. So that would be again, that might be what would be going on this week. I'll get a little bit more into the fundamentals tomorrow and see what the news is, and we don't have any today, but tomorrow morning I'll check the calendar and I'll see which are the events where we should expect some volatility. That's it from me for today. Have a great week trading. Remember, don't trade without a stop loss. Put in a limit order in the opposite direction just in case, with a stop loss as well, because, you know, again, you're risking your stop losses, but you've got the TA to back up the choices that you make. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.